On this episode of That Kingsville Podcast, we've got Town of Kingsville Clerk Paula Parker joining us, talking election updates, new candidates, and whatnot. We also talk Town of Kingsville news, Hogs for Hospice, and much more. Join us.
Kind of feel like some bacon. Some bacon? Some bacon.
Wrong kind of hogs. Join us for this episode of That Kingsville Podcast.
Hogs.
That Kingsville Podcast is proudly supported by Kingsville Brewery. Brewed for the outdoors, best enjoyed with good company. This summer, they're inviting everyone to #ShareYourKingsville. Whether you're in your backyard in Dallas or camping out in the wild in Sault Ste. Marie or anywhere in between, they want to
even Agila Toserantio.
Agila Toserantio. Toserantio.
Beautiful mountain.
Yeah, there we are. Post a photo with you and one of Kingsville brews or merchandise and use the hashtag #ShareYourKingsville and tag them for a chance to win weekly prizes all summer long. Your team will select their favorite photo each week. So cheers to the everyday adventure. Thank you, Kingsville Brewery. Welcome to this episode of That Kingsville Podcast. I'm your host, Dave Hunt. With me, Kevin Black, Stephen Ianson.
Delicious.
Gary Glass, production.
Are you talking to me?
Gentlemen, we're
Maybe.
He introduces me and you follow that with delicious?
Ooh.
Wow.
Midsummer.
I know we're friends.
Yeah, well, it's barbecue season, right? You know, you're all sizzly and suntan and whatnot. Out there walking around all day, Steve.
Oh, yeah.
Oh. So, yeah.
A little crispy.
Yeah, I got some feedback about our last episode with Mayor Santos. You know, again, he's gone. He's out of here.
Former Mayor
he's gone.
Santos.
Former.
Yeah, we can talk all the trash about, you know, what.
He's the worst.
No, he's not the worst.
No, he was good.
Yep. No. A few people came up, discussed it, said it was great that we were able to sit down with him one more time. So the other
these his family members?
No, his family.
Did you tally them so we could keep track of who was listening?
Are you number 1 or 7?
We should probably start giving them numbers.
Yeah, like the tickets at like a deli.
Yeah,
it's like, you're number 8. Oh, you want to listen? Oh. The comment though was, is the next mayor going to come on our podcast? And I'm hopeful. Whoever that person is who's elected.
I hope.
We are the media in Kingsville in you know, visual and audio form.
Well, without a newspaper.
Correct.
You know?
Yeah, there's no way other to get. Sorry, Steve. It was a dig. Anyway.
Sorry, Steve.
Yeah, it was nice to go down, you know, memory lane with Nelson and revisit a lot of the things through his career and, you know, steps that took place and, you know, good things, bad things, and he was honest with us.
Yeah, you know, for me, it's Steve. I know you're in a different situation because obviously you guys work together, and you had been reporting before I had arrived, but like I really got like into full-time reporting when Nelson was getting into being a full-time like mayor
politician, and
so really we kind of, you know, went through the ropes together. It was, you know, me asking him questions and him, you know, efficiently dodging my questions.
Giving you the full Nelson.
Yeah, giving the full Nelson.
Which
no half Nelson. Just a full Nelson.
Yeah, we got full Nelson on our episode too. Yeah. Right now. But
as you would expect. Nelson is a pro politician.
Absolutely.
And
he really got to grips with the full Nelson.
Hank. Oh, the board's not working.
There we go.
Oh,
no, it doesn't.
Oh, there we go.
No, he was.
There we go.
There's a delay.
Locked in.
He was locked.
There you go.
Oh, the intro. Oh, ooh. Oh, we're all over the place.
Hit them all. Hit them all at once. Let's get a honk.
Yep.
There we are.
Let's do some Kingsville news. Skate Kingsville is starting for registration for this upcoming season. Check out their Facebook page for program details and the registration form. You can only register via email by August 17th. Only email. So check out Skate Kingsville's Facebook page for that.
So is there a phone number for me to register?
Yes. It's called facebook.com/Skate Kingsville.
Well, who do I call?
Where is it when I show up at the arena for the guy at the table?
Don't you remember that registry?
Oh yeah,
like
every sport.
Every sport. And
I worked a few of them too.
Oh, my poor parents. Like I lived in London and I'm sure registration in London was just like a zoo.
Would you call it a dog's breakfast?
We'd call it a dog's breakfast / waiting in line at Disney for any of the rides kind of thing. But register for Skate Kingsville. Check out their Facebook page. Kingsville Pickleball is also holding a free Learn How to Play Pickleball session Tuesday, August 9th, 6 to 8 p.m. at the pickleball courts at the Recreation Complex. For more information, kingsvillepickleball@gmail.com.
I feel like we should start our own pickleball team. Like have a Kingsville podcast pickleball team.
We got one too many players.
Yeah,
I was gonna say,
you have sub.
Rotate in.
Yeah, have a sub.
Dude,
Well, I mean, you're gonna get tired. Like you're gonna need the break.
I'm not.
Yeah.
What? Well, if you're gonna play, you gotta
play
full
hard.
on.
Oh yeah.
If you're gonna pickle,
I'll be
you gotta
fine.
you gotta pickle. Like you gotta.
I walked for
proudly pickle.
3-4 hours in this heat. You think I'm gonna die quickly? No way.
Are
in
you
heck.
giving up on the pickle?
You got
No.
a full pickle.
Full pickle.
I'm going all out.
No dill.
You guys rotate in. I'll go the full Monty. No, I won't do that. But
Oh, boy.
Proud pickleball.
Hey, guess what? Open Streets is still going.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
it's great.
I've been up there a few times. They're looking for volunteers still. Every Saturday all the way through to September 3rd.
Rode the train on the weekend.
Did you?
Yeah,
Kevin, I missed you on the train.
I was on the train.
I was up there about 8 o'clock. I missed you on the train.
Oh, I was there during the day. Sebastian and I made the trek up. Listened to some Christmas carols. Rode our bikes through.
Mm-hmm.
Enjoyed the train crossing on the bicycles.
Christmas
and then
in July
yeah.
was the theme.
Some signage to let people know might have helped, but because there was a lot of confuddled people.
There was Facebook posts.
Yeah.
we're not all on Facebook.
Still looking for volunteers every Saturday. There are 2 shifts available, 3 to 7, 7 to 11. Kingsville.ca/Parks and Rec forums/volunteer form if you are free and want to go up there and help with that event.
Help out closing the streets for open streets.
Still
love
closing,
the name.
They're closing it early this week, but we'll get to that later in the episode. Hey, anybody else realize that there's a crap ton of car break-ins happening lately?
No.
Yeah,
No.
like a metric ton of car break-ins.
Really?
Are happening. Yes.
I always forget. Is that the 1,000 or the 2,000?
Metric ton?
Yeah.
1,000.
That's the 1,000.
I don't know.
Is one of them
1,000
2,000?
kilograms?
I don't know.
2,000 pounds. I don't know. Enough car break-ins to make
Like
sure.
a tone? Like a full tone? Like 157 stones.
What's in that coffee?
I was gonna say, can we gag him just for so you can finish your thoughts?
Just a
Sorry,
bit.
go ahead.
Just doing the community reads.
Go. Sorry.
Like,
I'll stop.
please.
Is that metric tone?
Metric ton. Yeah. So
Ton it.
the OPP is advising everyone, remember, lock it or lose it. And if anyone, they hit Applewood subdivision, they were hitting conservation, they were hitting all over town, reported that they're coming in from out of town and just hitting a whole bunch of cars and getting back to wherever they came from. There was a suspect in a white hatchback. There was some surveillance video and whatnot, but lock it or lose it. Yeah. So, door locks aren't a new thing on cars. Plus your house too. Make sure you're locking your house. Keep valuables out of sight. Gentlemen, it's the weekend that we've been waiting for, and we had episodes about Hogs for Hospice, and it's this weekend, Saturday. The Hogs are here.
The Hogs are here.
Couple thousand bikes. We're starting.
The cult is here.
They're here Friday.
Yeah. Ian Asbury and whatnot. They performed back in Detroit yesterday, so they were at Meadowbrook, and I get the day off today, I'm assuming, and then
You think they're hanging here in town? Probably.
maybe
Let's go find out
maybe
once we're done.
Leamington.
Yeah.
Maybe at the Grove though.
Maybe at the Grove.
The Grove does pull. They had Gene Simmons and Colin Mockery and Kevin McDonald, and
Well, if there's smoke upon the horizon, we'll know where they are.
just
Not everyone's gonna get that.
just weed sanctuary into.
Yeah, just say sanctuary.
I was working on it,
So we can.
Yeah.
So,
but you beat me to the
you know
punch.
what? Just play the favorites.
Yeah, no, but that that's the thing. Like in the 80s, they were that band that kind of transitioned between rock music and alternative, and that's where they came up. The Cult was like 1985, 86, 87 kind of thing. So generationally, there's our parents' generation that liked the cult, and then there's us that like the cult, and then there's kids going, why are you guys going to a cult meeting?
Yeah.
Right? Like, no, it's a band. It's not. It's a British band anyway.
I'll be honest, I actually forgot the cult songs. Like I knew them.
Yeah, like
I
10.
knew them, but I couldn't remember. Like I saw the call, I'm like, oh, what do they sing again? Like I had one of those moments. Yeah. And then I went and looked, like, oh yeah. Those guys.
I take it in your radio career, nobody ever, it was in the format to play.
Believe it or not, cheer and country is not rocking the cult too much.
We're playing.
Actually, She Sells Sanctuary might have been in Cheers.
It would have to have been.
Music universe. Yeah. Actually, I used to work at a different radio station up in near Peterborough. And there we used to play it a lot. It was one of our timeout songs, and so I'd always slide it in.
Yeah, exactly.
It's short, right?
And
you can fade it because it has a couple natural fading points.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like, and you're gone, and now it's news time.
News with Kevin. But yeah, the Hogs are here.
Yeah.
So it's the weekend that everybody's anticipating because the Hogs are back after some hiatus, and they're going for. I got to pull up the map here because the whole. Map of where the route is when they go on their cruise on Saturday has been posted to the Hogs for Hospice website. So they're slated to be in Kingsville about 11 a.m. for a couple of hours, and they're headed from Leamington. They're going north all the way through, where would it be? Fourth concession, Road 4, all the way over to...
Yeah, 8 would be up high.
What's that?
County Road 8's the border.
Yeah. Then they go down
Road
McCain.
4 is County Road.
Down McCain.
Yeah, down the McCain side road.
18.
And then back into Kingsville. So they're going around Kingsville and then coming back through and then heading down Seacliff back into to Leamington. So reminder to anybody who hasn't, well, what 9 of you should already know because we've talked about it extensively. Streets are closing Saturday morning rather than Saturday afternoon.
Yeah.
Handling
11:30, I believe.
11:30, somewhere in that neighborhood.
I just had it up too.
Did you? And then
I did.
all the bikes are coming. Everybody's going to have a great time with whatnot. There's going to be
11
live music downtown too. I believe there's was it Paying Cash? I read somewhere that they should be appearing during the day as well. So that's a thing. That's a thing, and then
that's cool.
Then the Hogs leave, and then it's open streets as norm for the the rest of the night. There,
it's gonna be
busy day.
Expect some traffic.
There's also a rodeo.
Oh, yes. Is it the rodeo?
It is the
Some part of the rodeo.
Golly,
that kicks off too.
Yeehaw! Oh, it'll be a bucking good time.
A lot of horseplay.
Feeling sheepish.
No bull about it. I can't play this game. You guys play this game. So, yes.
We'll rope you in, Dave.
There's that intro music. Gary, you mixed up the board.
Let that be a lasso team.
Oh, Steven. This is why he's on the show, folks. This is the
only reason.
It's also the outro music.
It is the outro music. It's universal.
Is that my cue?
It's like Aloha.
That's when we get played out.
Yeah. So a couple thousand bikes, guys. Like
it's gonna be loud.
Gonna be great.
It's great for business. You know what? It's gonna be fun to see it happening. It's gonna be nice to see them roll through town again. It'll feel like there's I think things kind of feel back to normal, but this is one of the linchpins of the summer that makes it feel like it was. Yeah.
Used to be the Tomato Fest, right?
Yeah.
When it was Tomato Fest weekend in Seacliff Park, right? Like that was and Essex Fun Fest happened this year a couple of weeks ago, right? So those kind of staples of communities have returned. Not all festivals have returned, but a lot of the big ones have. So, that's it. You're right. Yeah. I don't even consider it being under any kind of conditions at all. So it's great to see. So yeah, we got the Cult, and then there's some country.
Brett Young.
I don't even know what that is.
He's good. He's got some songs.
I would hope so. They're paying him.
I would say for some he would be the headliner.
I don't know what that is because I don't listen to country music, but I would defer and say, yeah, that's great.
Yeah, he's for country music fans, it's a big deal. He's good.
Yeah. So Kingsville, we've had our first event with the Highland Games. That went off well.
Yep.
Next one would be Greenway Jam. That's going to happen in a couple of weeks. So in between when we're recording, the Greenway Jam will have happened because that's the 10th.
Yep.
August 10th weekend. Yeah.
I will unknowingly agree.
Shows you how well.
Yep.
No, because the 8th's a Monday.
I know.
Huh. Now what?
Oh my gosh. I got to look at a calendar. Anyway, Greenway Jam happening.
13, 12, 13, 14?
Well, the first
Maybe.
is a Monday.
Yes. That's why the 8th's a Monday.
See the prep we put in this show? Kingsville Greenway Jam.
I'm going to call it the 11th.
Oh golly. Sorry folks. Dead air.
Hey, do we
August 12th to the 14th.
I have seen some questions, and I'm sure there are answers everywhere to this, but I haven't seen them yet.
Mm-hmm.
Do we know if the Greenway is just open like for the public, or is it shut down for tickets only?
We haven't really understood that. However, I think the performance area, I think the Greenway has to stay open. It's the performance areas are in the green space adjacent to the actual walking path.
So then that's the ticketed area
Correct.
that you can get into.
Right. So there's the one stage that's right between the Metawas and the old tobacco farm or tobacco buildings and whatnot to the south.
Right.
And
So
then-
that's the back of Kingsville Brewery.
Well, that's the other stage. So
Right.
the one at the Metawas and then the one at Kingsville Brewery.
Right. Okay.
So they're just up that little short path off of like the little trunk off.
Would you
of,
call it a spur?
Let's call it a spur for sake of better words. So that's the next big event in Kingsville, and that will kind of round out summer programming. Aside from Firefest, guys, Firefest. Can you know what? If I was in town, I would be all over Firefest again.
Kingsville's only Firefest.
From Chatham, Kent. Fire trucks. Yeah, so that's,
It's exciting.
it is exciting. It's coming back. We're back
It's
in.
with an eye, though, in case people are still confused.
Yes, not the concert in the Bahamas that was a very failed thing. Watch the documentary, one of the two documentaries on Netflix.
Yeah.
Now joining us on That Kingsville Podcast, we've got Paula Parker from the town of Kingsville Clerk. Thanks for joining us again on the show, Paula.
Thanks for having me again.
So, Paula, we're getting into election. It's getting a little hot and heavy. So, let's just start with going through. There's a long list of candidates. If you have it in front of you, if you want to go through it, or we can go through it, whichever you would like.
I do have it in front of me. So, those running for the position of mayor are Tamara Stomp, Laura Lucier, and Samson Zad. Those running for deputy mayor are Kimberly DeYoung and Gord Queen. And those currently running for councillor are Larry Patterson, Thomas Neufeld, Dennis Rogers, Brandon Stanley, Willie Fittler, Tim Beach, Gideon Spivak, and Tony Gaffin.
That's quite a few more than last time we spoke.
Yes. I was a little nervous at first because it's been pretty slow, but it looks like we are moving along now.
So to be able to file your nomination papers, what has to happen if anyone's listening and they're considering running? And when's the deadline?
Okay, so the deadline to file with me is August the 19th at 2 p.m. And to be a candidate, you have to be a Canadian citizen, you have to be 18 years of age or older, and a resident or taxpayer in the town of Kingsville.
And as long as they come in, fill out the paperwork and satisfy some other regulations, then they can start campaigning, right?
Absolutely. All they need from to give to me is a Form 1, which is their declaration form indicating that they qualify for those three things that I just mentioned. And then they have to have 25 endorsement signatures.
And August 19th. So if anyone's wondering, August 19th is the day. And then you will certify the candidates, right?
Yes, I have until August the 22nd to certify them, which means that I have to go through all of that paperwork that they've filed and confirm that those 25 endorsement signatures are actually eligible electors in the town of Kingsville, and then they're good to go.
Now, I know frequently people get confused because, some people will start campaigning or start going door to door, and they might not officially be registered, but as far as the town's concerned, there's no restrictions on that. If someone's campaigning, they can campaign. They just aren't technically a candidate until they file their papers.
So actually, no, that's not the case. They are not allowed to campaign until they file their papers with me. And if they have incurred any expenses prior to filing their nomination papers with me, then they're in violation of the Municipal Elections Act.
So then how do you make sure that that's the case? What are the checks and balances?
Well, unfortunately, it's kind of reactive. I have to rely on other individuals to let me know whether or not, someone might be campaigning outside of of their campaign period. And then, of course, we would just give them a call and provide a warning to them that they shouldn't be doing those things. Any election expenses that they have incurred, they will still have to file for, in their financial statements. And if anyone happens to catch on to the fact that they've incurred that expense outside of their campaign date, then they could be challenged.
And then that means they could be there, if they were elected, then they could be challenged on whether or not they're able to be confirmed as an elected official.
Correct.
There's a lot of rules, right? It gets into the minutia, but it's important because, people, I think, especially in this election, because everyone's been following, what's happening in municipalities across Canada so closely. This is probably going to be one of the most stipulated municipal elections in a long time.
Yes, especially since we have, unfortunately, lost our current sitting mayor. I think there's going to be a lot of interest in Kingsville going forward.
Yeah, we've already had another candidate kind of come out and declare candidacy with intentions. Yeah. So that was kind of I guess the tip of the iceberg of sorts. Actually, two.
Yeah, we have two.
Yeah. Sorry.
Right. I wouldn't be surprised if we perhaps have a few more. I obviously don't know what's coming down the pipeline, but it wouldn't surprise me if we had a couple of other interested candidates.
Mm-hmm. So, Paula, one of the things, and I know we had given you through the town's communications person a bit of a heads up on this one. We had received some information, questions from listeners, like the 9 of them. One of the 9 decided to reach out and ask. And they're wondering about the sign bylaw and how, and there is a specific election sign bylaw, and there's some pretty strict rules in there. And so they're asking about some of the signs and whether or not some things were signs that would be considered signs that were up. We're not going to talk about the specific elected officials, what those signs may say, because we don't want to paint anyone like anyone's doing anything wrong, because, maybe they aren't. And also maybe they just don't know. Mm-hmm. So, and there's no reason to paint anyone any certain way if it just turns out that maybe they just weren't aware at the time. But there was one instance, and I ran by to make sure, and then there was some photos that there was some election signs that had been fastened to a deck of a home. And then there was also in the downtown area some election phrasing painted on a window, and then some shirts in a window that we're urging people to vote for a specific individual.
Okay.
So here this gets to be the weird minutiae of election sign bylaws. So what's a sign? And
where can it be posted?
And where can it be and when? So with all of that said, Paula, first we'll start at when can signs start going up, and in your opinion, were some of these specific instances that had been brought to our attention, are they in contravention of that bylaw?
Okay, that's a lot. Thank you.
He's on fire tonight. We're trying to rate him in a little bit. But,
Ready to rock.
So, firstly, an individual can campaign as soon as they file with me. So as soon as they leave my office, their campaign is a go. But signs are not, they're not able to put signs up in the town of Kingsville until September the 9th, which is 45 days prior to voting day. What qualifies as a sign in the sign bylaw is any sign, including posters, promoting, opposing, or taking a position with respect to an issue associated with a person in an election. So, but there is an exception to that 45-day rule. The exception to that is if someone has registered a campaign office with me. So if they've provided an address for a campaign location, they are able to put up a sign in their campaign office location, whether that be in the grass, whether that be on the window, whatever that, wherever it is, immediately. So that's the one exception to the rule.
So,
go ahead.
No, I was just gonna. How many campaign offices have been filed with you?
So you're allowed to have one campaign office.
How many of the candidates have filed an address?
Let me
with
rephrase.
you?
Yeah.
Oh, off the top of my head, you're gonna put me on the spot here.
Yes.
I should have known. I believe there are. There's at least 5 of them that have provided a campaign address. Now, keep in mind that campaign office address could be your home.
Right. No, and I'm sorry to cut you off on as you were on a roll there too, but that kind of clears, I think, a lot of the speculation and questions up. So, sorry, I'll turn the floor back to you, but
that's okay. I just wanted to add that the sign bylaw we are pretty reactive with the sign bylaw complaints, so we don't go out looking for violations. We have to stay pretty unbiased, right? So, if someone has a complaint or a concern or even a question about whether something is a violation, they're welcome to call the clerk's office and we will take a look at it.
So maybe the listener that listens to our podcast should have just called you instead of calling us. maybe that's what it should happen.
Maybe.
I would say so.
I would imagine there's probably specific reasons why they called us first.
Probably.
Well, and I think what's important to remember is that it's a town of Kingsville bylaw. So when you drive through Leamington or drive through Essex. and there's campaign signs up, they don't have the same bylaw. It's different correct. Rules.
Yeah.
So what can constitute as signage that when was it September 9th you said?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
September 9th is the day to put up signs. It's really there's a lot of things that actually could qualify as a sign. The definition that I just read to you is any sign, including posters.
So if I'm walking down
sorry, go ahead.
No, if I'm walking down the street with a Vote for Pedro shirt on and Pedro's running,
that's campaign material.
So who? I would be a silly question, possibly. Who's in trouble then? The candidate or the person wearing the shirt?
Yeah. Ooh.
Well, no, a shirt wouldn't technically be a sign.
Okay.
It's campaign material, so if an individual is handing out shirts, then their supporters are able to wear them
as long as they've registered.
Yeah,
good.
Signs are things that you could put in on property. That includes billboards. That includes vehicle signs.
What if it's a shirt that's on like a giant inflatable gorilla in your front yard?
Anyway.
Well, as long as it's on the individual's campaign office location.
You do realize we want Paula back again a couple of times.
Yeah, we need her one, maybe two more times.
Yeah, so let's...
Hopefully lots of times.
Yeah. No, but it is important that this kind of information does get understood. So
well, and the problem is that people see signs and then they start talking, saying, well, they're not allowed to do that.
Right.
This can't happen. And it's important to be able to have the opportunity to clear the air, right? To say, probably it's fine.
Because who's going to sit down and read the Municipal Act? Right.
Yeah. Like I say, there is that one exception, and if someone registers their home address as their campaign office, then they can do anything then.
Have you had any issues with candidates so far?
No.
I mean, as far as the sign by law.
So signage is okay, Kevin. Signage is okay so far.
So far, so good. I haven't had any complaints that I've had to investigate. So.
Perfect. Yeah. So let's flip gears to people who are. Oh, sorry. Are we good? Are we good on signs?
Yeah. No. Well, I was just going to kind of ask Paul on a personal level. Like, I know when election season rolls around, the clerk is the most important person out of anyone in the town of Kingsville. Like, and their role, their job. What's that?
It's very nice of you to say.
Well, no, because and I remember my years in the paper, like Linda Burling and Jennifer Estralago, and these people would, when you got to this time of year. So this is your first election with the town of Kingsville, correct?
It is, yeah.
Is it your first election? I don't know the history. I come in not knowing stuff. Okay, so because then I was going to go one of two ways. One, what are you excited about? Blah blah blah. But with your experience then, what are you bringing that you've learned previously into this, and how is that going to help the town overall?
Well, I have experience in another municipality. I worked for them for 12 years. This is my third election.
Okay.
The experience in the previous election with my previous employer, we actually had a very close race for deputy mayor, and there was a 4-vote difference.
4?
Wow.
4 votes, yeah. So I ended up having to do a recount.
A couple of times, I'm sure.
Actually, no, because the first recount came back with the exact same result.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so no kidding.
Well, we know she's good then. She's on. Yeah. We can trust her.
And so what methodology are the ballots being cast this election for the town of Kingsville?
This election, I'll say I'm excited about the fact that I actually get to do something different. Vote by mail is new for me. My experience comes with traditional poll. So vote by mail is a bit new for me, and it's actually pretty exciting to have something new to work with. So what the expectation is that end of September, we will have the vote by mail kits mailed out to all of the community, all of the electors. And then right from that date, we'll be ready to take them back. So, if you are one of those individuals that doesn't mind putting them back in the mail, then do that. We'll receive them at the town hall, at the municipal office, and we'll secure them until voting day. If you're one of those individuals that doesn't want that ballot to leave your hand until it's in a box, you have that option as well. Right up until October the 21st, you can deliver your vote by mail kit back to town hall. And again, it'll be secured until voting day. On voting day, we're providing 2 different options for the electorate that just wants to come in on voting day and use that day to cast their vote. We have a ballot return station set up for Ridgeview Park in that pavilion. And then we will also, that'll be 10 till 6, so 10 a.m. till 6 p.m. That's in Cottam. And then we'll have another location available at the Unico right downtown Kingsville. And that'll be available from 10 a.m. until 8 p.m. Close at 4.
And then the key to making sure vote by mail works is making sure that the voters list is current and up to date, right?
That's correct, yes. And that we get the final 2022 voters list on September the 1st.
And what's the website where we can make sure that we are officially registered to vote?
Yeah, that's voterlookup.ca. You have that capability to take a look there and make sure you're on the voters list until August the 22nd. And then after that, you're more than welcome to come into Town Hall to check with us there. And then we also have that capability on voting day in those 2 locations that I just mentioned, where if you don't happen to get a ballot and you don't seem to be on the list, we can add you to it. We're going to give everyone every opportunity to vote.
I know with the provincial and the federal elections, a lot of people, they eagerly sit watching TV and waiting the results. In the recent past with Kingsville elections, there are people that gather and, it hasn't always been a short sort of stay, if you will. There was some jokes one year that they're going to send the results out via bat signal because it was taking time. Do you have an idea of when we might see the results as far as the timeline? Voting ends at this time, and you hope to have the results out by this time.
Yeah. So in my previous experience, I've usually been the first out of the gate. So close the polls at 8 p.m. And in those traditional polls in my previous municipality, we had results by 8:30.
Oh, wow.
Well, hey.
Yeah. So
sounds awesome.
Yeah.
So much better.
You're going to make me commit to something, and God forbid something happens.
No.
I'm hoping that it will be the same here in Kingsville.
And is there a location as to where the results
will be announced?
Yeah. I know it's been in Migration Hall before, but
yeah, the Unico is election headquarters, so that's where not only will we be taking ballots there, we'll also be tabulating the results there.
Are the general public allowed to attend?
No, unfortunately. So once that door closes at 8 p.m., the close of poll, no one will be allowed in until it's over.
So I know last election, we all gathered at the arena.
Yeah, that may be an option. I'm still working out those details. But certainly the results will be added to the website. And I think that we will obviously provide a location where media and candidates can go and gather and wait for those results as well.
Media. Yeah.
I just don't know that location just yet.
We're the media.
Yeah. Or are we the media?
We're the media.
Yeah.
Well,
interesting.
Paula, things have changed very drastically since the last time that we talked. And, we anticipated that there was going to be more candidates coming out of the woodwork. So, here we go. We're in the home stretch, right? We've got 3 weeks until candidacy closes. And then the process really has to kick in, right?
That's right.
So thanks again for joining us on the show. Like Steve mentioned, we hope to have you on at least one more time to discuss, maybe right before the election, or, we understand you're going to be busy, so we don't want to, complicate the situation. But, this has been...
I would love to be here. Even if we will chat about what the voters can expect would be great.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Getting the information out just so that we make sure that, all those little intricacies and things that might not be clearly understood about signage and whatnot get discussed. So
right.
Thank you very much again for joining us on That Kingsville Podcast, Paula.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Have a good night.
Take care.
Thanks.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye. So we got more candidates. And if we didn't hear where Paula announced the candidates. So for mayor, again, Tamara Stomp, Laura Lucier, Councillor Laura Lucier has thrown her hat in the ring for a mayoral run. And then Samson Zad. It's a new name for me. Not aware who that person is. Curious to find out more. Deputy Mayor Gord Queen is running for re-election, as well as Kim DeYoung looking for deputy mayor, and then councillors.
Councillor Kim DeYoung.
Councillor Kim. Thank you. Sorry, I've got many things to read.
Yes, that's why
it's a long list.
Councillors seeking re-election for councillor spots: Larry Patterson, Thomas Neufeld, and Tony Gaffin. And then new candidates running for council: Dennis Rogers, Brandon Stanley, Willie Fittler, Tim Seach, and Gideon Spivak. So we got some more names now.
Some familiar ones, some new ones.
Yep. Well, you're definitely not going to have, just a whole, non-election with, only current councillors reseeking election. So we'll have new faces in positions for sure. Right. You have at least 2 new council people.
A new mayor.
For sure.
Potentially a new deputy mayor.
A new deputy mayor. So this might be a very transitional thing. So,
do we think that we've pretty much seen them all, or
Nope.
or you think quite a few more?
I think we'll see a few more councillors.
Well, you guys called it. I mean, as Laura said, she was a little worried, and I was thinking, well, when's it going to happen? You guys said right around now, and kudos to you guys for calling that one. With 3 weeks to go, you're going to see.
But I think the exception was Nelson.
Yeah, big time.
And I think Nelson backing out of the race is what caused this. Because
I think a lot of those people were coming forward.
Let's not say he backed out of the race. Let's say he didn't enter the race.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Sorry, semantics, but
right. No, that's a more accurate way. Exactly. He did not enter the race, right? And with Nelson not entering the race, that now gives opportunity or room for opportunity because of what his track record was. So maybe there are individuals that felt that running for a mayoral position rather than one of the others.
Maybe. Really, Laura's the only one that would apply to, right? Laura Lucier, because she is running for mayor. I don't think that the council candidates that Nelson deciding not to run had an impact on the number of people running for council. Maybe. But I think out of those names, even some of the new ones that I know a few of them. It was kind of thought that maybe they were going to run,
there was
a while ago.
Rumor mill.
So yeah, you know what? It's good candidates so far. So we'll see.
Yeah, and now that the clarity in the signage requirements and or bylaw potential non-violations.
Yeah, I mean, it's signs are one of those things that just really irk people.
Yeah.
It gets them. And it's kind of funny to hear, Paula explain it. But yeah, it's, people, there are allowances, and a good candidate is taking every allowance they can.
Of course. And if it's their headquarters, then they should be able to identify that that's their campaign headquarters.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even if it is in the middle of town. Right? Like, regardless if that's their registered campaign headquarters, then they're entitled to do that. So, interesting, right? Clarity. We're thankful for it. So, but, here we are, home stretch, right?
It's coming.
By the time we record again, it'll be right near the end of the candidacy announcing period. So, I'm going to say, and let's put an over-under here on this. Of just total candidates for any of the positions, how many more will add to this list? And I'm going to say 5 is the over-under.
Total? Like for every position?
I'm going over.
You're going to go over 5?
For sure.
Over 5?
Yeah. I would say I bet you at least one more mayor.
Yeah, at least.
Maybe 2.
Yeah.
I don't think deputy mayor. I think deputy mayor is locked.
Yeah.
I would say at least 5 more councillors.
I'm going to suggest at least 2 or 3 females are going to get on that council list.
I would hope so. Right. That's, that is an entirely male.
Yes. That's the one thing that really stood out when I saw the list.
Right. It's an entirely male list of candidates.
And Kingsville has a good history with strong female politicians.
Absolutely.
So,
we've got 2 of the current councillors that are still seeking re-election, but in different positions rather than council seats. So, there's their legacy or their track record from their current seated position going forward to hopefully elect them in their thoughts to their new position. So,
have we ever had a female mayor?
No, I don't believe so.
I don't think so.
Not to my knowledge.
No. So, hey, maybe this year's going to be that year. So it'll be interesting. And as time progresses as well, we'll make an announcement regarding some things that we're going to do for the candidates within town. So things. Stay tuned, all 9 of you. But we'll make sure that those announcements go out when it is solidified.
Right.
Steve.
Yo. Food Hub?
Food Hub.
Yeah. So my wife and kids spent a couple of mornings volunteering at the Leamington Food Hub, and it's.
Can you explain what the Food Hub is for those that?
I can try. So this is sort of the information I've been given, and hopefully I get it correct. So basically, it's greenhouse seconds, if you will, and they go to the Leamington Food Hub, and from there, that which is acceptable is sorted, and then it's sent off to all kinds of locations to people for food product. Anything below that, some of it is actually sent to the gleaners, which they then glean and become soup mix and is sent all over. Basically, long story short, very little, if anything, is going to waste from the food products.
Like forgotten harvest kind of thing.
Yeah. So the Food Hub, I think, is run pretty much entirely, if not, well, primarily, but if not entirely, by volunteers. So it's just a good thing going on. So, I think there's some people who probably think, well, what happens with some of this, stuff from the greenhouses that they don't need, but really, I don't think anything is going to waste. So it's a cool little venture going on.
Absolutely. And it's things like that around communities when inflation is hitting and times are getting tougher, right? We saw the June 27th Miracle take a turn for format this year. And I don't think that they received nearly as many donations as they had 2 years previous.
Which isn't necessarily a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing. However, out of sight, out of mind, right?
Yeah.
When the campaign and the advertising and the promotion for the June 27th Miracle happened in 2020, that was the event for that month because we couldn't do anything else.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then with the track record of 2020's event rolling into 21, it was even more successful, and there was still need for a lot of that donation. So it's nice to see that we've got some format of still being able to assist the community with fresh produce and nutritious donations rather than just countless boxes of beans and peas.
So much KD.
It's interesting that you mentioned the June 27th Miracle, and I wonder if part of it is sort of twofold. One, the fact that June 27th fell on a weekday for the first time, and the fact that more people are back to work, so they're not home like they were. Mm-hmm. So I guess one of two things. Do you change the date and not make it the June 27th Miracle, but make it the last Saturday in July, whatever that date is, Miracle? Or do you maintain the name, but know that the June 27th Miracle is the last Saturday in June? Just to kind of, there's more people, they're home. If you're, I don't know if it's a knock on door thing or if it would strictly leave it on your step to, for pickup, but well, again, the first 2 years we were pretty much home, and it was a weekend, and you knew it was there.
I don't want to sound like a Debbie Downer,
no,
but
you won't.
There are issues with can drives. They're a fantastic idea, but the other side of the June 27th Miracle the first 2 years was that it created an unbelievable storage issue where, municipal arenas and, garages that weren't being used could be used to store pallets upon pallets of canned goods. But though that storage space isn't available now. And the other issue is that, there's a percentage of that food that's expired. So you end up having to actually hand pick through all of the products that are donated, and it becomes almost more laborious than it would have been to just, go buy the food.
Right.
The Globe and Mail actually did a really good article on canned drives.
There's still a newspaper in print?
Believe it or not. It's one of them. And an economist broke down the economics of a food drive, and really what it boiled down to was it's almost ineffective. And if you want to help, donate money to food banks.
Yeah,
It's money they need,
right,
because they need to be able to go buy milk, buy bread, buy perishables. It's vegetables are vegetables are fantastic. Yeah. They don't need cases upon cases of pinto beans.
Who eats a pinto bean?
Right.
And if you're in that situation,
two of our 9 listeners might.
Right, but you're going to get real sick of pinto beans if every time you go to get a little assistance, all you got to pick from is pinto beans.
I thought they tasted like beer. I thought they were pinto beans.
Oh.
God, he's so quick. If you've made it this far into the episode, you're getting gold here. This is late show gold.
But the thing is, I don't want to sound like I'm against it, because it is a good idea. It's just that maybe they need to revamp it to more of, give me money instead of give me your old the old stuff in your cupboard.
And the only downside to that is that, well, I've already donated to this and this and this. I'm sorry, right? It's hard. It's
right, and you associate the food with being the actual contribution rather than the stigma of, well, I'm just giving money to another big foundation and they're paying executives and CEOs, even though that's not the scenario.
Not the case.
That is absolutely not the scenario. Right. But that's the stigma.
And for the people on the other side, it looks better when you have an arena filled with canned goods.
Yeah, it's a good photo op.
It's a good, and it feels good.
Yeah,
it feels good than cutting a check. Like it really, like it's
you can
substantial.
See it. You can see it.
But the question has to come down to does it make sense? Like, are you actually helping, and the people that need it, and should the organization of it begin at going to the food banks and saying, what do you need, instead of, we're going to go get all these canned goods, so here you go.
Yeah, and it's management of the initiative, it's execution, and then there's the security end of things, right? Because whenever large amounts of money are handled, there is always
issues.
Always issues. Yep. So now I'm glad to hear that there are methodologies though for fresh fruits and vegetables and whatnot too, and hopefully some of the people in need in our community have access to that on the regular, or are aware that there are outlets in order to obtain fresh, healthy foods rather than cans and cans of black-eyed peas and pinto beans and stuff that I don't even know how you eat them. I know you got to rehydrate them, but then what do you do with them?
Make baked beans, just so much base. So
yeah, but then you got them in cans. Like, what's the deal with them? Anyway, thank you everyone for joining us.
Hold
for this.
on.
What? There's more.
Apparently, he's been there, done that.
Ooh,
see,
I mean, he's got the knowledge.
Late show gold,
man.
Was it tough up in Quinte West? You were eating cans of beans.
It's tough. It's tough days. No, that was ramen.
Yeah, of course. All the foods of
so much ramen.
Food of students.
So I don't know if you guys have heard of this one address. I'm going to throw it out there, and then you tell me if you know of anything happening there or potentially happening there. It's 183 Main Street.
Oh, Kevin, I am so sorry. We haven't talked about that for a few months, and I completely gapped on that, even though we discussed it prior to the show that we were going to discuss this.
Just in case, to give a refresher, it's a potential 22 unit condominium building across from the Kingsville High School. So this one's across the road.
Color's the house?
I think it's like an orangey
reddish.
Red? Yeah.
Heard of it.
It's next to a vacant field that actually there's a subdivision plan for.
Yes.
So like there'll be more homes going in and around.
Correct. Now that the school's not going on that property.
Right. So just so that we're clear, like it's where if you drive by now it's corn, but if you drive by there in like a couple of years, like it'll be that empty field to be.
Walker Drive will continue.
Right. And much like Santos and
so like if you were there, like there'll be a bunch of houses there, and then beside where all those houses are going to be, there's the potential for a 22 unit condominium building behind a heritage building.
Okay.
So,
familiar.
Okay. So, and everyone is aware of the current situation. So the town of Kingsville voted against the development plan of that 22 unit condominium building. That was after the developer had come forward to say that they would save the heritage designated building that's currently the home that's currently there.
Yeah, how many times they do that?
A couple times they denied that. The developer came back, they changed the plan to basically align exactly with what the town's official plan and zoning bylaw allowed, to more or less call the town's bluff, and the council voted anyway against that development plan.
Heard of it.
So as expected, we're arrogant buffoons, and we knew that there was a good chance that if they voted against that, it would get appealed to LPAT, which is now the Land Tribunal.
OLT, Ontario Land Tribunal.
And because it was in line with the official plan and with the zoning bylaw, and there was case law that had showed that this had already happened in other municipalities. So the hearing was last week.
Oh my gosh, it was.
Last week. There was 5 days set aside. And so the hearing commenced, where the planner presented, or the developer presented the reasons why they felt that the town council had voted erroneously, and that they should have been allowed to develop the condo building that, the town zoning bylaw and official plan allows to happen. Mm-hmm. And then the town solicitor, presented the reasons why they shouldn't be able to, taking, Planning Act into account and trying to find ways and that it would not align with the Planning Act, which would be difficult because it seems to. So there's no decision that's been released yet. That decision will come out likely. It takes a little bit. So I would think probably it's summer, maybe in August, but likely September-ish. We'll probably see a decision
how are we going to get that
tribunal.
How are we going to get that decision? Is it going to come via mail, telegram?
Oh, I'll get it in my email.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so then we can discuss it. It's an interesting one because council had a pretty good idea that it would be appealed and they would lose when they decided to vote in favor of it.
Right.
So they paid their town solicitor to create a case, mm-hmm. And then spent 5 days at a hearing arguing the case.
I heard they get paid by the hour.
They're on staff now.
They're on retainer now.
Yeah, they're on staff now.
Yeah.
So then, then that person goes and argues the case, mm-hmm. And then now we'll wait and see what the decision is. Mm-hmm. So maybe I'm being arrogant. Maybe I'm completely off base.
You've been described.
What
is it condescending to? We were condescending. Were we morons too?
I don't know.
We were morons too.
We may have been. We may still be. I don't know.
No, I am. But aside from that, it'll be interesting to see, and I have spoken with some people at the town for us to find out the amount of legwork that happened mm-hmm. To go into the case. We'll have to file an FOI. Okay. So I've started preparing the FOI to file to find out how much time have we spent in fighting a case that the council was told that they would lose before they voted.
Thank you for being a newsman for so long. Because who else would do
fantastic.
This? Who else would do it? You would do something like this if you were reporting on something.
No, I wouldn't.
No, you wouldn't.
I'd go take a picture of a cross.
You just get Leah. Leah, can you just add more to your column this week? Talk about more Robins.
May she rest.
Not true.
Oh yes. Oh, I joke in love.
Oh, I know.
So since this issue had been ruled on, we've seen condos go up next to Migration Hall. There's construction mm-hmm. happening on 2 buildings behind the current medical center across the road.
Yeah, previously approved.
It'll be interesting to see how the town is. And I don't want to say it's full. I don't think the site plan's approved. I think they just approved the initial zoning bylaw changes for that farmland property.
Yeah, across from the high school.
Yeah, because there wasn't a drawing, right?
I don't believe so.
I don't think there was a drawing.
It was just zoning change in order to continue the process.
Right, and then the drawing will come.
Correct. Yeah.
So it's interesting to see how this will end up.
I was going to shake out.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
Oh. Yeah.
So this, you know what? I think that I wanted to dig into this one because it's just so silly. Like this one,
right?
Well, seems so silly.
If you're a longtime listener, if you're listener 2 or 3 to the show, that episode that we did when you did the research based upon the stipulations clearly laid out in the policy, the land use policy, and the square footage and the amount of residency on that layout, I think that gained us the credibility that we're not just a trio of morons.
Well, you guys.
I might be. I don't know.
I might
it's crazy.
But
not this one.
I think the important thing is to understand that we aren't in favor of that condo.
No.
Like I personally don't care.
I don't
that
care.
condo gets approved or denied. It doesn't bother me at all.
Does it bother you? Oh, it bothers you a little bit?
A little bit?
Well, on a personal level, just because I have family nearby where it's going.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. No, that's fine.
But at the end of the day, am I going to fight something that A, is in the plan, B, like, do I really have a chance? Am I going to invest the time in some, like, it's like, okay, we're down by 20. We've got 1 out to go, 1 strike to go.
Especially when like the provincial mandate and local municipal mandates about intensification of residencies, because towns can't grow outward anymore, right? The town limits have to contain that population, and there's the need for densification, right?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
How do you do it? You go up, and that's the reality, right? Yeah. Toronto was not Toronto when it started to be the city that it was. It grew from a town. Much like Windsor grew from a town, or London, or Hamilton. I think New York City was always that way, but I could be wrong.
I'm pretty sure.
But yeah.
Well, no, the last farm on Manhattan was sold in the 1930s. So
where did you come up with
that
figure?
Amazing.
Holy.
Look at you. What was his name?
Trivial Pursuit.
Okay. I was going to say, you read that somewhere and it just stuck.
That's amazing.
It was a question, and it was like the last one of these on Manhattan was sold in I could be wrong on the date, but like, let's say 19 whatever. And
I would have
farm.
But you know what, this issue, I think for me it resonates because it's one of those where council was called on to make a difficult, unpopular decision that was probably right legally, and they caved under the pressure.
They went against the grain.
And you know what? And maybe everything, I'm a moron, so maybe everything I'm saying is completely wrong. The town will win at the land tribunal, and you know what? Egg on my face.
If that's the case, then absolutely. Then obviously what we've discussed and had discussions with individuals and whatnot, whether in elected positions or not, or municipal staff or whatnot, I guess the rules changed.
Yeah.
So one may speculate that they looked at this and said, well, by the time the decision comes out, the deadline for the election will be over anyway. So, hey.
Maybe. Or maybe you'll be right in the middle of it.
Yeah, maybe.
This could get really interesting.
That would be very
exactly.
If you're not a sitting councillor and you're...
Oh, yeah. Whoa. Anyway.
If I was running.
Yeah, Kev. Well, that rounds it out quite nicely. Jeez. Thanks. I forgot all about that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, hey, no problem. Also, in my research, there's a weird application at the land tribunal about and it's not the town, because I have checked. Someone in the town of Kingsville is appealing the plan to close Highway 3 while they're doing construction on it next year.
Someone in the town is appealing.
Someone has appealed it.
So how else is the highway going to get,
I don't know,
built?
I'm not sure.
Well, we're going to find out.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I don't know how you can appeal a decision the province is making to the province, but it'll be interesting to see how that one bears out.
Hey, waste some dollars.
Why?
However, it's popular. So. Well, thanks for joining us on That Kingsville Podcast. Production by Quantum Sound Productions. Gary Glass, Quantum Sound Productions. Thank you for all your help.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We'll see you next time.